Antonio T. May Taylor.
Stacey Sewell.
Christina Johnson.
Margaret Harris.
Bruce Ray.
Okay. Where's Jabriyll?
Jabriyll Izsrael.
Dashawn McDonald.
Dollar Green.
Boss Scrilla. Okay. Everybody sounding good? 2 minutes, guys, and we're gonna go live. All the social media guys ready?
So we going live on Facebook because I got people saying.
Yeah,
We're going live on Facebook, YouTube.
Your page.
No, my page won't be live. The teammates page, D-Ball's page,
Man Up Radio.
Man Up Radio,
Joseph's page. We live.
and Brad Harrison, all his different pages. John Walker. Yeah.
I didn't even see you over there.
That's your thing?
Okay. I'm so sorry for
What's up, everybody?
Miss Vivian, man, can you get a couple pictures of everybody so we can use them later?
We're about to start out. It's on the community connection.
All right, my man. Everything will be ready in this conference.
It's a panel discussion. We got 10 of our local distinguished community leaders ready to talk.
Sean, is your page open?
Yes, ma'am.
You got it? You say on the radio too? Did you say radio?
It's gonna be on, Brad and Sean's YouTube page.
Okay.
It's gonna be on all their pages.
Okay.
Just go to Brad Harrison's page. Sean's broadcast, he's tagging Brad in it, and then T-May.
Okay, I got Sean, so I think.
Okay.
It's on my page now through Sean, and then I'll put Joseph's up too.
Are you live yet,
Joseph?
Yeah, about to.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready, Joe. I'll be ready to start.
Oh,
Okay. Whenever you get ready.
We ready?
You ready?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody ready?
Yes.
Good evening. Welcome to Community Connections Let's Talk series. Tonight, we're going to have a little fun, Bruce.
We're gonna have a little fun,
We're
brother.
going to have a little fun tonight, Bruce. We're going to talk about some issues in the community that need to be talked about.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we're going to try to, at the end of the series, figure out how to fix some of the problems.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm excited about this. Community Connections handpicked all of these people on this panel. These are people who you see. I want you to look at them good. As all these different social media pages out here, these people are working hard in our community to make a difference, protesting, feeding people, doing some of everything. And I just want to thank you guys for the work that you guys do. So I'm going to give yourself a hand. Give yourself a hand. For so many times, man, they try to pick 3 or 4 black people to be our leaders.
Right.
But everybody has an opportunity to lead. Let's all get involved and make a difference. That's what it's all about, man. So I'm so glad to have all you great people here tonight. And thank you once again. So we just got one house rule. And let me put my glasses on so I can read.
Glasses on.
Okay. When we ask the question, guys, everybody's going to have 2 minutes to answer the question. When your time gets close to the 2 minutes, you're going to hear this sound here.
Hey, man, I thought you was just getting the bell, man.
Well, hey, the bell.
Wow. Get the bell, bro.
They needed that the other night. Hey, I went to Walmart to get the bell. It was $17. So I took this off my daughter's basket.
Oh, man.
It's free. This is free, bros, right here. It's free.
Man.
So that's what you're gonna hear when you get close to your 2 minute time period. Because we got a lot. I have something like 45 questions here. We may not get to. I'm sure we're not gonna get to all of them here tonight. but we want to cover as much as we can, and I want to hear from each and every panelist that is here tonight, because everybody thinks a little differently, and at the end of the night, we're going to figure out how to bring everybody together. We're going to bring everybody together. So first thing I want to do, I want to start on my right here to the front and introduce the panel. I'll start with you, boss.
My name is Boss Scrilla. I'm a hip-hop / R&B / CEO with record label here in Louisville, Kentucky. Right now I'm working on a project called My Black America, and the first single off of it is Say Her Name.
Come on.
It's a tribute to Breonna's mother. Say Her Name featuring Dollar Green. Right now, it just came out Friday. It is exploding up the charts. You can find it anywhere on, you can go to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere. Say Her Name by Boss Scrilla featuring Dollar Green. And we dedicated it to her mother because we know how it must feel to have lost a child.
Amen. Amen. That's Dollar Bill. Just tell me your name, Dollar Bill.
Y'all. Yeah, my name is Dollar Green, Ricky Green. I'm a local recording artist, Louisville recording artist, and basically a serial entrepreneur. I own a couple small businesses, employing people in the community, and real glad to get to be here with you all and to get to be a part of this discussion, so I can be on the inside and learn more about how I can serve and how I can be a better ally. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Dashon N. Montgomery. I recently got invited to the panel. I appreciate it. I don't really know what to say besides.
Just say you do street work.
Yeah.
Street work. You out there working on the streets.
Yeah, I know working on the streets, trying to help my community.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jabriyll, Izsrael. I am a concerned citizen, first and foremost. I'm a servant of the community. I'm an artist, I'm an activist, I'm a minister, I'm an author. I wrote a book called Ali 400. It's predicated on creating 400 Muhammad Ali's through authorship and positive hip hop. Subtitle to that book is The Blueprint to Saving the World with Positive Hip Hop, one community at a time for dummies. And so it means the world to me to sit with you great people, you great champions of peace, justice, and social reform, and explore topics and solutions to moving our community forward.
All right. Bruce, Margaret, Neil, Vivian, the rest of our Community Connections team, I'll let you guys speak for yourself. I just want to say thank you for your hard work.
I'm Bruce Ray. I have a nonprofit called the Texas Village Inc. I service the community and feed the homeless and homeless vets, help needy families, whatever they need. I'm also a co-host of Community Connection Morning Show. We on 104.7, the new WLOU, from 7 to 8. If you up that morning, drink your coffee, tune us in.
That's
We're
right.
have fun, and we talk about issues
Hard issues.
in our community.
That's right. Real issues. Go ahead, Queen.
Good afternoon, good evening, I'm Margaret Harris, and that's all we need to know right now.
Good evening. I am Christina Johnson. Most people know me by Shay. I am most of all a servant of the Most High. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. I have been employed with JCPS for about 20 years. My charge is to serve the community and our schools with trauma-informed care. So I go out there to every school in the district teaching how trauma impacts our students.
Hello everyone, I am Stacey Sewell. Also I worked for the state for 27 years and retired in 2016. I am now branching off into mental health counseling and also certified in substance abuse.
And tell them about the nonprofit football league you started 20 years ago to help little kids.
I started a Little League youth program almost about 20 years ago. Mr. Linton was my right hand back then. I served the community for over 16 years before we decided to retire and branch on taking care of our own children, because we took care of so many kids in the community. But it gave me great joy doing that, and so I'm looking forward to just getting back out there and getting my feet back on the ground and helping these kids and adults that needs it out here.
Hello everyone, my name is Antonio T. Taylor. I'm the co-owner of Wave FM Online, which is a black-owned multimedia platform. I also run Hip Hop Into Learning, which is a nonprofit with my wife, now Reclaim Taylor. And we help kids learn to read and write using hip hop. Shout out to the Real Young Prodigies, Rapparations. And also I want to mention tonight with us, we do have Renee Unique, who is running for commissioner in her district, so we need to support.
Thank you.
My name is Nishorn T. Daniels. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I'm one of the co-hosts with the Man Up Radio that comes on every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. with my co-host there, Joseph Tapper. He's, what's up, Joe? What's up, Joe? Hey. I'm also retired military, Army, 21 years. I'm married. I have 2 adopted children. One went to Duke, one went to West Kentucky, one is an attorney, one is a educational, and I'm also the founder of the organization called God's Lives Matter. I'm also involved with an organization called American Descendants of Slaves. I'm also involved with one of the co-owners of History Untold. I'm involved with a number of different things to help us improve ourselves to find our identity away from color, so we can be able to understand how we go after our inheritance, not reparation. That's who I am.
Amen, amen. I want to thank all you guys for being here. I always like to get that out of the way first, because people don't know some of the great work you do, and we want to make sure that people recognize that, so we begin to work together, because we can get more done if we got 5 or 6 working on the same project. So that's what it has to be about, service to others this year and this working together. So let's jump right into this, guys. We're going to be all over the place tonight, so take your shoes off if you have to. We're probably going to run a little bit over, so I apologize in advance for that, because I know we're going to get a little heated a little later, and so just bear with me. Just bear with me, man. And Bruce, you all right, Bruce?
I'm good, man.
You got your coffee?
I got my coffee.
As long as Bruce got coffee, he's okay. He'll stay up all night long.
I can stay all night.
Yeah.
You got coffee?
Yeah. As long as Bruce got coffee. Now let's get right into this, guys. Now on March 13th, 2020, Breonna Taylor was murdered in her own home. Okay, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the verdict. I want to get each and every one on this panel. I want to get your opinion of the verdict and what you thought about it. But just tell me what you thought about it first, and then we're going to talk about the details of the whole case. So I'm going to start down there with Stacey Sewell, T-May Taylor, me, Sean. We're going to go that way, and then we're going to just work our way around.
You want me to start, or you want Shay to start? Want me to start? Okay.
Hey, either one of y'all, because it's going to be good when you get it. Yeah.
So first of all, as we all know, I don't think anyone should have to be concerned that when they're in their house sleeping in the comforts and security of their own home, they should be worried about someone coming in their home and killing them, especially someone that gets paid to protect. I was devastated about the whole case. The findings, the rulings, disappointed in Mr. Cameron. I'm disappointed in him, but as we discussed before, I already knew that he did not submit the evidence to the grand jury to even possibly indict on murder charges. So I'm not surprised about the outcome, but at the end of the day, the people's voice will be heard. We will learn the truth about what happened on that night, and we will get a conviction.
All right, Brother T.
I mean, I just like to put it like MLK said. He said, justice denied too long. I mean, justice long delayed is justice denied. So we are delaying justice as it comes to our sister, Breonna Taylor. What we were told is that a wall was more important than her precious life.
Yeah.
And we've been told that all our lives. And the time is now for us to stand up and be a part of the judicial system. So we need to keep electing more black judges, because I condemn the judge who even allowed Daniel Cameron to delay the transcripts coming out.
Correct.
Friday's not soon enough for me. It should have came out yesterday,
Yes.
like it was promised to us. So we gotta start looking at those little things. Who was the judge that decided that Friday was okay?
Yeah.
Why was that decided?
Yeah.
Because we know what they're doing, and those are the things that we must change. When we ask for something now, we want it now. But we can only get what we need now if we engage and be a part of the political system now. So that Breonna Taylor can never happen again. That's why we must do this now.
That's right.
All right, Mr. Daniels?
All right, let's get it going. Well, I made a comment in the statement on Terry Minor, okay? And my statement on Terry Minor was very clear about a couple of things that I understand. One thing, I'm not an emotional person. I'm a very analytical and I'm a thinker. I say that I'm a retired military person, so everything the military teaches you is to think about different things. So first I'm going to say that no doubt Ms. Taylor should not have been killed. That's the dark bullshit, okay? But I'm all going to say no doubt that no amount of Cameron could not have given the order or trial to say prosecute those officers. I know a lot of you are not going to agree with this, and I'm going to tell you why. When you look at things, you got to go by the law. Those cops are, and I'm a military, only talking from a military standpoint and how things is. If you don't understand structure, those cops are peons. They are nothing but pawns. The orders came from the top, okay? The cover-up is the top, okay? They're covering up the top. How do you know that? Because the $12 million that came out before that was to cover up the top. The reason why I say that, and I say this, and I've had intense conversation with people that I'm in conversation with, the moment that they did not find no one guilty, it starts from the top. Military people knows that if someone can scapegoat anybody at the bottom, they will do it. Those young men were nothing but pawns to cover up the top. And if you don't understand that, and how do you know that? If you never, I'm from Miami, 1980 McDuffie. How many of you know about the 1980 McDuffie ride to Miami, Florida? Anybody know about that?
Heard about it.
Yes, sir. You need to go Google it. You will find the very same things that they were talking about then, we're talking about it now. The very same things that they were talking about then, we're talking about now. But here's what's interesting. The very same type of cover-up then, they're doing it now. So I'm just saying, if we don't get it right by making sure a Daniel Cameron, he was too green.
Oh, Michelle.
He was too green.
We ain't gonna do Donald Trump tonight. Hold on. We ain't gonna do Donald Trump tonight. When we hear this, that's 2 minutes for everybody. So, all right. I appreciate everybody's answer. Now, the hard part for us tonight is community connections. We're going to interview you guys, so we won't be able to actually give our opinion. You have to tune in on the radio show and see what we really think. So I want to go right here to my brother right here, who's been on the streets, on the front line, protesting everywhere, doing what he has to do to keep people safe. And the other night, you had some protesters downtown that were not doing the right thing, and you corrected them. So I thank you for that, brother. I thank you for that. So,
I spent a lot of time down at the square keeping our people from eating each other, and I'm not ashamed of that. Our people have been poisoned, they've been starved, they've been strangled. These folks sit with their knee on their necks, but let's take it to the top. This people controls all of the laws that control the lives of all of our people. So when Breonna Taylor gets murdered, it does not matter in this system because the system was constructed to protect a system which facilitates the American dream for so many descendants of European descent. They're not willing to let that go. As long as we sit in their home, which actually belongs to the native, the indigenous people of this continent, it's not going to be. But as long as we sit here and demand a piece of their pie, a a piece of the spoils of their wars. We deserve to sit under their feet. I know that's a little bit controversial, but until we live in an environment where we can protect our own women, control our own laws, determine our own destiny, as long as we have to petition for reform of another people's legal system as they control our lives. We're just asking for crumbs. And the fact of the matter is that these people in power over us have no problem staying in that position. And that includes being able to murder us and everything that goes along with this. I'm not terribly surprised that it still continues to go on. What surprises me is our lack of demand for freedom in the process. So I hear justice for Breonna, I hear police reform. I'm on the team to defund the police. Hey, we need freedom. We demand anything less than that, how can we be surprised when we don't get what we need? So, I'm terribly troubled by Breonna Taylor's case, but I hope this opens our eyes to how desperately we must demand freedom and nothing less. Give me liberty or give me death.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. We got Bruce over here with his flip phone, so we're trying to get together. So we're gonna upgrade Bruce to an Android. so his bell won't keep going off. Nephew, the same question, and then Boss Scrilla, Dollar Green, y'all follow up with the same question, and then we're gonna go to a new question. And speaking to the mics, everybody. Right.
Yeah, the Breonna Taylor case was difficult for me because it was, you hit the girl 30 times, and on top of that, the person who fired the shot, they didn't hit not one. So how you shoot 30 shots and not hit the other person? Another thing about that case is, I see on the pen it says rest in power. It's like people look towards Daniel Coombe and stuff like that to try to solve the problem. He didn't do that.
Daniel Coombe. Yeah.
You said it right. You said it right.
Hey, look for him to solve the problem. He didn't do nothing. And then it wasn't no justice. So you got a whole bunch of rage going on, and like, who do you point the problem at? Ain't nobody else to look up to.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Now, Dollar Green's next, the Boss Scrilla. Dollar is the only white person on the panel because him and Boss wrote a beautiful song, and if you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it. So, brother, while you're there, I want to get your opinion. Can I get your opinion?
Yeah, I think for me, the tell-all, right? Because we're all spectators of all of this, right? All of us are spectators. And when, for a member of that jury to file suit and state, choose truth, that tells me all I need to know.
Right.
Because she was not that person was not a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
That person was on the inside and has way more information than any of us spectating have. And she files suit and takes that risk and says, choose truth. So that's all I need to know about.
Good insight, man. Good insight.
Exactly.
Now, for me, it's been, I didn't grow up in a lot of murder capitals. I grew up in drug-infested poverty areas, growing up, scrambling, doing what I do. So to see people get murdered by the police or the police get off with murder, that's nothing. I see it all the time. But this sort of hit home for me. During the verdict, when the verdict came out, a stranger knocked on my door, and I was at the store, and my wife was next door, and my daughter called me, panicking. Hey, Dad, somebody's at the door. I'm like, hey, calm down. The doors is locked. We got a state-of-the-art, alarm system. What you worried about? She said, well, if something happens, I said, if something happened, the alarm go off in the police. And before I could finish saying the police will get there, she said, yeah, that's right. The police will get there. So it's horrible when my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, is more terrified of the police coming to the house than she is of strangers breaking in. And for that, I got to fight.
Wow.
That's right.
Now, I saved Miss Johnson for last. I skipped right over you for a reason because you have so much to say, and I want to get you to just take your time and talk about the verdict and what it means to you. And you have the floor.
Oh, thank you. Well, and we all knew that it was wrong, speaking of Trayvon, but I was not surprised because it happened again and again and again and again. But I'm on the front lines, one, because I'm a mama, and I have a daughter who's 16, right? And that could have been me, that could have been her, that could have been any one of my sisters. Sure. So I'm on the front line, one, because I'm a daughter, I'm a Christian, I'm a servant, I serve this community with 100% of me, and I err on the side of right every single time. But this is why I'm coming to you today. I serve over 100,000 children. And that's what JCPS, 100,000 children, right? And I teach them, over 20 years, I've taught them, when you misbehave, there has to be a what? There has to be a consequence. There has to be a consequence. So, when Brianna was sleeping peacefully, right? When she probably had her TV on or the music on, and when she was sleeping peacefully and got murdered in her sleep, where's the consequence? There's no consequences. So he didn't get, or they didn't get detention, no asset, no timeout, no parents called to the office. None of that happened. None of that happened. And so what I'm telling my children in the district is, hold on, wait a second. There will be a consequence for the misbehavior of these officers, and it did not happen.
That's right.
It did not happen. I don't feel no waste time. I promise you that. I will go home, I will cry, I will rest, and I'm getting right back on the front lines because so many years, black females say, okay, so many years we have been overlooked. Yes. We've been there, but we've been overlooked. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. So I'm here, I bring my daughter, I bring my sisters, I bring my mama. I'm here, I don't feel no waste time. Justice will be served. I don't know how, I don't know when. But I know I don't feel no waste time. I wipe the brow and keep on pushing.
All right.
All right, Queen. I believe Margaret had something.
I would like to talk about the federal grant.
You have to speak in the mic for the social media for me. Just pull it down for Bruce.
Make sure I'm correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about the federal grand jury. Has anyone served on the federal grand jury?
No.
I have, and let me tell you that I'm going to tell you how they came to the conclusion with the charge. When you serve on the federal grand jury, you're in a little room, the prosecutor comes in and tells you nothing but his side, nothing. He makes a recommendation about the charges. You got the jury pool sitting here, and all you're going to hear is the prosecutors. So that's what that jury, this suing, that's why they're suing, because he did not give them an opportunity to charge anything. He recommended that. They had nothing to do with it, and she wants to know. She wants the world to know exactly what happened. Because when you're in there with that federal grand jury, the FBI might come in, the prosecutor come in, but it's all on the prosecutor's side, and they make the decision of who to charge and what to charge them for. So if you ever get a chance to serve on that grand jury, I thought, where am I? Everybody's getting sent up the river today.
Wow.
But that's the way that goes. So that's why that came down like that. That's all the jurors had. That's what he gave to them, Mr. Cameron.
So basically what you're saying, there was not enough information provided. Is that right, Margaret?
Well, he only provided what he wanted them to hear.
Okay, and then this question is for anybody on the panel. Who was on the grand jury? Okay. What responsibility did the AG have in directing the grand jury? And then could Cameron have used the Kentucky wrongful death law? Is KSR 411.130, if nobody knows what that is, that's wrongful death in the state of Kentucky, and you're allowed to use that. I'm wondering if he could have used that law, but I want to know, how do you even get on the grand jury? Can somebody answer that?
You just get a letter in the mail.
I think it's kind of like all the other grand juries. They just get a letter in the mail, ask you to come and serve.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, Bruce, with the
I was
question.
about to say what you said.
Okay, I got a question. Do you think a police officer should live in the precinct that he's patrolling?
Absolutely. Most definitely.
Anybody else?
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
I definitely
Ideally,
think so.
I think he should know the people. If you're patrolling the people and you live there and you got a dog in the fight or a stake in the game,
That's right.
you'll treat the people differently, especially when you know you got to go home around them. You got to live around them. Your kids got to go up around them. You'll serve and protect instead of breaking niggas' neck. You know what I'm saying? That would be on your mind. You would do it a whole lot different. But if that was to happen, then the neighborhood, a lot of stuff would stop, a lot of violence would stop, the property level would come back up, we'll start prospering. That's not in the plan. That's not in the game plan. So they need officers from other places to come in and terrorize us, to come in, and we got more officers than anybody, and we got more crime than anybody. Makes me think the police is the crooks.
So when my father was on my father was a cop in Miami, Florida, and he was on our Man Up Radio last Saturday.
Excellent.
He made a statement, and I believe that is very important. Not only should they live in our community, but we need to ride with them. Okay, he said we are living in a time that we ought to not just leave it to the cops' responsibility to police our community. It is our responsibility to police our police by walking with them, being with them. So when we're there and riding with them, or when we standing there, okay, then we too have eyes on it. Too often, we constantly giving everybody more authority over our community than ourselves.
Since you guys are talking about police, let me ask this question, and I want to start with T-May, then go to Brother Jabriyll right next, and some of the other panelists. How, in your opinion, how do you think the police have handled the protesters?
Terribly.
Horrible.
Horrible, but we know what the LMPD was designed for. We know what that's about. It's to oppress us. So this is a system that has never wanted us to have justice. And at every step, from day one, in front of the megabus, the whole thing has been to demonize the protesters. What they're trying to do, they're trying to build a fear campaign with white Louisville to have white Louisville in fear that they need a bigger budget and more police. And that's not what they need. What we need is what everybody's talking about. We need community policing. And one thing we're not talking about, and I know Christine can echo me on this, we also need, if you're teaching our children, you also need to be in our community. Because that's actually where it starts.
Now you cheating.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm just saying.
You're trying to correct some.
I'm just saying, let's plant the seed
You're trying to fix
early
this thing.
so we don't get to this point. So absolutely, James, LMPD is the enemy. And we all up here, we all salute and we are proud of Yvette Gentry, and we hope that she can make some changes. But the real problem is the FOP president.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's keep our eyes on the true enemy. It's the FOP union. We have to get that union in order. And it starts with, they need a new union president.
Brother Antonio, I was actually there last Friday. I was there, and I was holding up the bloodstained banner. Well, I was holding up the banner, with a couple of other folks. My pastor, Bruce Williams, was there, and Pastor Tim Finley was there. And we were marching, and the sun was out, and Mama, can't you see what the system got me? The sound put us down, ain't no justice in this town. And we're marching, and we're singing, and we're chanting. And all of a sudden, we turn a corner, and they boxed us in. The sun was out. They boxed us in, and they started coming to us. And then all of a sudden, with my daughter right here to my right, all of a sudden, we heard what sounded like bombs, right? And we hear our leaders say, run for what? These are the men that are supposed to protect and supposed to serve us. So what do? We dropped the banner and we ran. You're supposed to protect, and there was no threat.
No.
We was walking the city of Louisville with pastors and positive leaders throughout the community. We were walking, we were singing, we were chanting. And what was right in front of us coming towards us was the gentlemen in blue that were supposed to protect And sir, they had whatever you call them, but they scared the mess out of us, and we dispersed, and we were scared to death.
And that's
we
the
were
problem.
scared to death.
Wow.
And so that chant, ain't no justice in this town, that's absolutely correct.
Wow.
Absolutely correct.
And I have to back you up on that, because I've noticed that the protests, even though they're peaceful, there's no threats, there's no nothing.
None.
But they've been shot with rubber bullets, with gas. I mean, they have done just about everything they could possibly do to our peaceful protesters. One minute they say, you all can protest but be peaceful.
Yeah.
But the next minute you're being attacked by the LMPD. Why are they being attacked? They haven't threatened anyone. They're marching in unity. Why are they being abused the way they've been abused? I have a little young lady, Jasmine Shedd. She was out there protesting peacefully, and they shot rubber bullets, hit her right here in the center of her head.
With kids in the daytime.
Yeah, oh yeah, with the kids out there.
Kids, babies.
Yeah.
So, with that said, do you think the curfew was good for the protest?
But it was during the daytime, my brother. This was like
Yeah, I know,
5:30, 6 o'clock.
Now, I do agree. I mean, when things get rowdy, it's normally when the sun goes down, and then the other group of people come out. It's not your peaceful protesters that's been out there all day since morning to dawn. They don't, started utilizing, breaking up and going back home. Then you get your second wing of people that come out. And everybody that comes out is not out there to protest peacefully.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
You always got a handful of people that want to take things to a whole nother level. Now the curfew thing, I was okay with the curfew thing. If that meant that they wouldn't turn up our buildings in downtown Louisville and turn up and burning stuff and destroying things, I'm okay with a curfew.
Yeah.
Clear the streets. If that's what it takes.
Jabriyll, come over here. I'm gonna get the young guys.
Hold up.
I'm gonna come back to you. I promise. I'm gonna save you for last on this question.
All right.
For the sake of transparency with my brothers and sisters, it tickles me pink to announce again that I weekly meet with a group of police officers under the title of African American Officers for Change. My big brother's a police officer. Used to train SWAT. Used to train Special Forces. When COVID broke out, my brother opened a company called Obsidian Sports Group, and he advertised on Facebook. He aimed to train the community to defend itself and shoot back at the police. He's on the police force. He was highly applauded for that. It blew my mind. Still blows my mind. That said, he knew that there were more than the officers involved in the incident of Breonna Taylor's death. He knew that more body cams were on site. Every officer on the force did. So the day I brought that up, when I spoke with the officers, I was interviewed by, there's an independent firm out of Chicago that's auditing LMPD. I met with them yesterday. As soon as we opened the meeting, I brought it up. This footage coming out, the way that we're being terrorized, not just in our communities at these protests, and if it were white folks fighting for their freedom in America, talking about give me liberty or give me death, the police would be obligated to protect them, to usher them to the courthouse. Maybe even...
I don't think they care now, because you got white people out there now, you got black people out there, you got Latinos.
Yes.
So talk to me about that.
So that's a really interesting point, right? Because a lot of the younger white folks, and there's even some folks my age and elders out there that are standing with us during these protests, right? A lot of times, 80% of the people there are white, and so is it just a situation where white America doesn't want black people to move into a position of self-determination? I still think at the end of the day, yes. The white folks that stand with us say they're fighting against racism. They're fighting against white people who won't allow us to be free. They're fighting against white people who are racist. And obviously, systemic, institutionalized racism, which permeates our police department. And so, like I said, I talk with these officers every week. But the fact of the matter is I explain to them that they have a duty to protect us in our fight for equality. I fight for social justice reform. I fight for freedom and liberation. They have an obligation, as opposed to being the opposition, to being the servers and the protectors that they're paid to be.
Okay. Cool. Nephew, I want to get you to talk about, do you think the protesters are being treated fair, equal from the police department? We'll get your opinion on that, then we'll go to Boss, then we'll go to Mishan.
You said the protesters getting treated fair and equal. I wouldn't know because I went down there, but from looking from the media and social media, don't look like it because they get hit with rubber bullets. That was from the first week of protesting tonight. I was looking on social media pictures and stuff like that, seeing people get hit with rubber bullets, seeing people's heads split straight open. Even some of my coworkers went down there, and they was young, about 19, 20, and they was getting hit with bullets. So as far as that being equal, no, that's not equal. But with the police and stuff like that, it's like Kentucky allows it. You know, you can go any other state, they don't have the same problems. You know, you look at like, we kept Mitch McConnell in office so long, he's basically running the show.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you just gotta get out there and vote.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Boss.
It don't surprise me the way the protesters are being treated because it's war. It is war. They're at war against us, we're at war against them, and we in war. The problem is, when we go down there, do we realize we at war, or do we think we at Master's house asking for some extra biscuits? What do we think about? You know what I'm saying? When we down there, we know it's war. They got tanks, they got guns, they got dogs, they got them trucks. They locking you up, they roughing you up. It's war. The only reason they ain't killing you and murdering you and picking you off one by one, because y'all ain't killing them and murdering them and picking them off one by one. You down there voicing your opinion, you getting loud and rowdy. They voicing their opinion. They do what they do, you do what you do. So as long as you down there talking and begging like we do, talk and beg, they gonna rough you up and lock you up. That's what they do. They rough you up and lock you up. They doing their job, you doing your job. Now we just gotta figure out how long could we do our job before some results come. Because they could do their job all night long. They get paid OT, they get paid overtime. In fact, they wanted a little vacation time, so they gave you a curfew so they can get a rest, so that they can, because they need to go and make plans for you. They need a little time off to make plans. So you down there protesting, they say, hey, protest peacefully. So you protest peacefully. They said, hey, stop protesting at 9 o'clock. You stop protesting at 9 o'clock. Stay still in control, even of your protest. We do protests under Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a white-led organization. It's not even us. There's two. There's Black Lives Matter, the organization, then there's Black Lives, the actual movement that we go by. So they even control the name of our protests. So anytime they want to switch it and say it's over, all they got to do is have the organization pull back up off of it, and the whole protest die down. The problem we have is we need to learn to do for self. Now, I know it seems contradictory. I say do for self, and I'm with someone that's not with us, but we need to do for self. All right.
Brother Daniel?
You know, I have a problem in generalizing all police as being against us. I believe that that's the wrong attitude. Yes, the police have been treating the protesters wrong, most definitely. But I also believe there's two sides on both sides. You know, I was involved in conflict resolution. Conflict resolution said it's people on both sides. And you hear me talk about being at the top. I cannot get away from understanding that police, the officer, are nothing but pawns. You got people out there that they are working for. You always got the top and everything. The very same thing is when you have citizens going out there, coming up there. You representing your interests, and you got the police officers, they're representing the people that sent them out there. So, you know, I believe that the problem starts from the top, always from the top. I never blame people who react to things because they always reacting from the emotion or from somebody directive, okay? Somebody giving them a directive to do. And I'm gonna give y'all a little peep on something. I said that the McDuffie, the 1980 riots, there's something that the America does now that they didn't do back then. See, did y'all notice when before they gave us the verdict? Did you notice how they allowed everybody, the businesses and everything, to get protected and secure? Did you notice how they went ahead and put everything up and everything? Let me tell you what they couldn't do, what they know now. We are very predictable people.
Yeah.
Okay? Very predictable people. They decided to sacrifice their businesses to let y'all moan, bitch, and cry and do whatever you're gonna do. They decided not to even try to give a verdict. And that's why I said Daniel Cameron on Terry Mine, he's too green to represent us. You know why he's too green?
Yeah.
Because when he started his conversation, I was pissed because he didn't know how to express the verdict that he was about to give out when he asked that mother to come all the way from Lexington to come hear that nonsense that he gave. That showed that he had no compassion about what he was about to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Golly.
James,
I'm sorry. I want to hit you, T, man, because I want you to follow up on that. And then I want to talk about who gives the order to the police. I want you to touch on that. And then I want to talk about, has the mayor done enough?
Oh, that's what I
for
want.
this city?
And I'll try to tackle that within my 2 minutes, but I gotta tackle this curfew thing, y'all. We gotta keep it all the way real.
Okay.
The curfew was enacted so LMPD could arrest more youth. That's why I'm not with it. I'm not fucking with it. I'm sorry. Okay? The whole idea to protest is to go against a system.
Yeah.
To say no. It's to break the law.
Fight the power.
They knew for a fact that when that verdict came out on that day, them kids was gonna hit the streets.
Absolutely.
They had the trucks ready. I was there.
Absolutely.
Ready to arrest those kids. Do you hear me? They had it ready. So that when 9 o'clock came, they were ready to arrest those kids that was gonna protest. Thank God for that church.
Yeah.
Thank God for Unitarian Church. Thank God for them, because you know what they did? They beat them at their own game.
Yeah.
Because if you go on public property, guess what you can't do? You can't arrest them.
And they weren't home at the church.
So they went on the church property.
Right.
But those trucks was in front of that church, y'all. And each time when those kids tried to go home, what did they do?
Arrested.
They arrested them. The curfew was only implemented so they can arrest the kids.
Yeah.
Because if you arrest those kids and you put felonies on them, guess what we can do?
That's right.
We can stop them from getting the job they need.
Right.
We
That's
can
right.
stop them from getting that scholarship they
That's
need.
right.
You can stop them from voting. You can stop them from holding political office. They know this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what the curfew is for. We can't fall for these tricks, y'all. We can't fall for these games. They've been doing this shit for a long time, and they're very good at it.
Yeah.
They're very good at it. We gotta stay woke, we gotta stay aware, and we gotta stay politically engaged. It's the mayor's fault, James. And I like this mayor. I like him. He helped my kids. He supported my wife, who's a 2019 teacher year, but he dropped the ball on this.
Yes, he did.
He rolled the fence. All he had to do was just fire those cops and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. If the people are asking for it, just do it. We telling you it's our money. We don't care if the cops come back and they get a big check and get paid. We don't care. It's our money anyway. We'll take that loss. But we trying to prove a point. We trying to do a new thing. So what I'm saying is that we have to really be engaged in the law and the politics. And the curfew, again, it was meant to fuck our kids up. I'm telling you.
So, teammate, I just have to bounce off of that. So, what you saying that, because I said the same thing, that when we was talking about this curfew, I said it's just a way for them to put felony charges on folks, which then starts hindering you to be able to prosper.
Exactly.
And that's an issue. So what do we tell our young men, our young women that want to protest and they know it's a 9 o'clock curfew, but they go to the safe haven at the church, but they surround the church, the police surround the church and tell them, any of y'all come off of this property right here, you're going to jail.
But guess what we did though?
So they had to sit there till about 11:30 until the police department and the church came to an agreement, whatever time it was, I know it was late. They came to agreement and said, okay, we're gonna let them go, but they gotta go straight home. So my thing is, our kids want to be out there and they want to voice and they want to protest for what's right. But we also got to keep in mind that if we fall for their madness and allow these babies and these young men to be arrested and get felony charges that would hurt them even more in the future.
There you go. But what we did, what we showed our kids is that you can negotiate. You can be a part of the process.
Yeah.
The kids, it wasn't us.
Right.
The kids negotiated with LMPD. Let us go home. So they saw the power in not only their voice, but their actions. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take that power and that action, and they're going to enact more action. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But they learned that it's a process, and you can negotiate. You can.
Yeah.
They learned their power that night. That's a beautiful thing when our young people learn the power that they have.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Christine,
Yeah, I was just thinking about.
get a little closer.
Okay. I was just thinking about our youth that were in the church. This thing about trauma, they've been exposed to trauma throughout this whole case. They've been exposed to trauma throughout the whole COVID. So our kids that are exposed to trauma, there is something also called racial trauma. And it happens every day, all day. So what I'm saying is the kids, what trauma does, it overwhelms your capacity to cope. It overwhelms your capacity to cope. So when you're talking about young minds and young brains and teenagers and in the 20s, and they're in this church and they really get their engines revving, trauma overwhelms your capacity to cope. So why do we go to jail? Because I don't know how to cope. I have regular trauma. You know trauma comes in all sorts of forms, right? Right, okay. So I have this regular trauma, now I have this racial trauma. So why are our babies getting locked up? Why over this Brianna case? Because I can't cope. So when I can't cope, what do? I act out. And so how do I act out? I might throw something, I might set something on fire. Trauma overwhelms our capacity to cope. So not only do we have regular trauma, now we have with our children racial trauma.
Break that down. Break down racism as a black woman in this country.
Yeah, so I'm an educator. So if I was to go into a classroom, let's do it at the elementary level. So if I was to go into a 3rd grade classroom and I see it's usually black males. I'm talking about what I know. It's usually a black male. And I see his desk, right, away from the student, and I see his desk pointed in the direction of a wall, and the walls look just like the walls that's in the jails and that's in the prison. Right? You know about the prison, the pipeline, right? So if we're not at reading level, at 3rd level, what are they doing? They're building more what? They're building more prisons, right? So this is what we call racial trauma. So you already had the trauma of, I'm sorry, I get so excited. You already had the trauma of poverty. Poverty is a very heavy backpack. In the trauma world, we call it the invisible backpack. Right? The invisible backpack is those thoughts and those images of my mom being a crack addict. We have those thoughts and images of LG&E being cut off. We have those thoughts and images of my uncle molesting me. So we're bringing that into the classroom, right? So now, when I come in, instead of my teacher saying, "Good morning, Robert, how are you?" she says, "Go to your desk." And what is your desk facing? It's facing that ivory wall that's in bricks that's built just like the jail. Right? And so what happens? You have racial trauma and you have social trauma, or regular trauma. So what do you do with that? That's why at 600 West Jefferson, so many men are sitting there saying, "I wish I used the pause button, but I didn't." This system is set up from day one to have our males, especially our black males, completely fail.
Exactly.
Completely fail. Nobody talks about trauma in the West End, but it's real. Nobody talks about depression in the West End, but I promise you it's real. Look up the symptoms of depression. Look it up. I promise you our kids are going through it.
Post-traumatic slave.
Hey,
Okay, go ahead, Misha. I want to go Misha. I want to go Boss, and then Jabriyll.
I'm going to have to jump in here and just have a conversation with you, young lady. But you talk about your education. I worked in the Jefferson County Public Schools for 10 years, working in the community, right there, Brown Community School. And one of the things that I learned I came there with all my ideas of trying to make a difference in those kids' lives. You know what I learned, and it upset me? Those kids rather stay in school than go home.
Absolutely.
They rather stay in school than go home. You know what I found out? I found out Mr. Michon. We had this little box. We didn't want their names on. Just tell us what's going on in your life, okay? They dropped in their box. They said, Mr. Michon, I love your stop, think, act, review, conflict resolution. You're trying to get them to live hard. Live, okay, instead of die. Start making better choices so you don't die. So you can be able to go to school. So you can do the things maybe your parents may not be there for you, but you got to learn how to live, make better choices. Stop, think, act, review. Don't allow every little emotional thing that comes along. But they said, Mr. Michon, I got a mom who's on crack. I got a mom who's not doing it. I got a dad not in my life. What do you want me to do? And I told those children, baby, I was dealing with 16 and over. You at a point in your life that you got to evaluate your life, because this world ain't gonna love you if you don't love yourself first. Bottom line. And you know why I was able to tell that? Because I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a provider. I showed an example of what a good, strong man looks like. And you know what? I was able to make a difference in 30 kids out of 10 years that we had 30 kids each time, and I dropped those seeds. And I happened to run into Mr. Michon. So I say starts in the home with the men. Man up as an individual.
Where's the men?
There's men. We got to develop the men. We got to develop them.
All right, boss.
All right, I'm gonna break it down in technical form, okay? There's two types of computers out there. You got a Mac and you got a PC. You know, that's the Apple, and then you got like a Dell or something, right? The Apple runs off of programming called iOS, and the other one runs off of Windows program, right? Now the Windows program does not work on the Apple computer. It's going to get an error message every time you try to upload that Windows on the Apple. You're going to get an error every time. But now Windows have come with the Windows for Mac. So they took their Windows program and they altered it a little bit so that it'll fit and it'll run on the Apple, but it does not run nowhere as good as the Apple. It doesn't do anything that the Apple computer was designed to do. It just makes it kind of conforms it into a regular PC, right? So you might as well get a PC, right? Now, that's what black people are like in America. We are Apple computers, but we're running under that Windows program. We're either trying to run under the regular Windows program or the alternated one for it, right? So every time I go to do anything, like I go to type in overthrow racism, I get an error message because that Windows program don't support overthrowing racism.
All right.
So until I start running off of my Apple program and off my iOS, now I run off the iOS.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm strong.
Yeah.
I'm a dominant black brother. I eat what we was meant to eat. I eat alkaline. You know what I'm saying? Don't do drugs, alcohol, nothing like that. I learn. I read all the time. Study I'm running off a good programming. And my machine runs well.
Yeah.
My machine runs well. I see things that other people don't see. When I listen, I hear different because I'm running off the correct program. There is nothing more important than to run off the program that was designed for your thing.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
Brother Jabriyll.
I like how you broke
I
that
like how you roll, bro.
All right, that was good. Brother Jabriyll, talk to me about racism, man, and how do we fix the problem?
How do we fix racism? I was at the square a couple of weeks ago doing a church service with some folks that do church service every Sunday. And I like to remind people that our bodies are made of 70% water approximately, about 30% earth. And the human being is a unique thing on the planet Earth because it actually has the iron, the nickel, the uranium, the gold, the zinc, the copper, all the elements that the Earth has in it, in the exact same proportion in which you would find them in the Earth. And a salamander can't say that. A fish can't say that. A gorilla can't say that. A bird can't say that. Grass can't say that. No other species of life on the planet can say that other than the human being. And you can't find human beings on Uranus. So we're not made out of Pluto. We're not made out of Saturn. We're made out of the Earth. We all have an eternal consciousness. Some of us say it comes from our Heavenly Father or the eternal thinker. But we share these things. You know, we get our bodies from our mamas, right? Like Daddy put us in the womb of Mama, right? And she rolled some bones and flesh. We get our bodies from the Mama. Our soul from Daddy, right? Heavenly Father, earthly mother correlation. So if you look at Earth as one big family, you can eventually escape from racism. But in America, like the sister said it so eloquently, our men are set up to fail. Our families are set up to fail. That's the program in America. We're Apple computers. They know it. And they're not going to let us have
They
our
run a
operating
virus.
system.
They got a virus.
That's right.
Same question to this side of the room. How do we fix racism? Start down there, Mishan, the teammate. Let's come on down with the latest.
Well, first I'm going to say, Dr. Clark Anderson said the definition of racism is the understanding, he called it panoramics, okay? He says that race is not based on color, race is based on power, okay? It's based on the individuals who got themselves positioned in power. So if you don't have yourself in position of power, okay, then you cannot be able to operate and push back on somebody who's trying to apply their ideology and their views on you. Now, the slaves, the very first slaves, they were not in the position of power. So the people that was in the race to have control back in the early America, they controlled, that's where America, the capitalist country, became to be in power. They were able to use their power to persuade their ideology on us. Now, if you know this, and I'm telling you this, okay, how do you push back? First, race is not based on color. But if you're programmed to see color, and the person that called you black, and they called themselves white, only convenient, not because they have to, because they're in the power position. Why do they call themselves white? They call themselves white so they can stay themselves in the power position. They call you black because they keep you looking at them as color as the position of power. See, so as long as you continue calling yourself black, you are in subject to them. That's why we say, that's why when I stepped out in front of my place where I work at, I am an American descendant of slave. The moment that I stepped and said that to them, I'm American, I'm no longer part of that program they just put in place. The program they put in place since 1619.
That's still an adaptation. That's still the adapted window version. You've been a slave for 400 years. You've been a man, a king, a dominant king, a god on earth for 3.5 million years. Why would you name yourself after 400 years?
That's the problem right there, okay? See, God has transcended us. There's a reason we left Africa to be in America. Our wealth is here. We have wealth here, okay? The wealth is knowing how to connect to the dominant European culture, intentionally calling you black so you don't see the slave name that's on the paper. If we don't call ourselves American descendants of slaves, we did not get our inheritance here. So you want to change racism, you got to pass legislation to remove color. Color is the problem. You have to remove color off the table. The moment you take color off the table, they no more in control.
All right, thank you. Teammate, talk to me about racism. Talk to me about your knee on my neck for 8 minutes. Talk to me about going to somebody's home, shooting through the walls. Talk to me about racism and how we fix it.
That's a lot to unpack. I wanna apologize to my queen here on the right. I'm not disagreeing with you about the curfew. I just kind of understand what it really is. Not that you don't,
I agree.
but we both can be right, get to the same place.
Yeah, to the same
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're trying to get to the same place.
Yes.
So, just want to make sure I never silence my beautiful black queen's voice.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's very important to always make sure that our black women feel appreciated and that they understand who they are and their word is valid. But I agree with you, Mishan. Racism really does not exist. It's a made-up construct. It really doesn't. But what I'm saying, but we do have to understand this. How do we solve racism? Well, we don't. That's on white people. They created it. That's their job.
That's right.
Our job is to make them feel so uncomfortable that they have to correct it. That they have to correct it. And that means that we have to, again, y'all, we gotta be engaged in the political process, because if they won't do it, we have to be in positions where we make it happen on our own. Like everybody's saying, empower ourselves. But me personally, I refuse to have a conversation about race with other white people. I used to do it. But I can't convince another white person of my experience. I can't convince you of that because you've never been a black man.
Sure.
Just like I've never been a black woman, I have no right to tell this black woman right here how to feel her experience. So what I do is I put it on other white allies like Dollar Green. You go tell the other white people who don't understand our experience why we feel the way we feel, why we're so angry, why we need reparations, why we need to control our own communities, why we need our own wealth, why the wealth gap has to be closed. We use our allies for that because they can explain it to them in layman term in plain English. But it's not our job, y'all. Our job is to make them uncomfortable and continue to pursue justice. And that's what we do and continue to empower ourselves. So that's my take on it, y'all. We don't solve racism, we didn't create it.
Can I get some of this, James? Can I get some of this?
Let me get the ladies first, and then I'll go back to you.
I totally agree with you there, T-May. And for me, racism is deep rooted. It goes way, way back. And you're absolutely right. They use the white and black, they use white as a way of saying we are superior, we're here, you're there. When you think of the color black, it's always something depressing. So when they threw that on us as black people, it was a way to degrade us.
Right.
How do we fix it? It's so deep rooted. It's been passed from generation after generation after generation after generation. One thing that I've learned though, in this new generation of young folks that's growing up, the views that their parents and grandfathers and grandmothers have, they're not seeing those same views. So that's why you're seeing, even though back when they was marching in the 60s, there was plenty of white people out there marching with our brothers and sisters. And so when we protest here and we see the white older ladies and the elderly lady that was knitting, sitting on Daniel Cameron's front yard, you know, we've always had those good white folks that knew wrong was wrong.
Yep.
And so they always stood by us and marched with us. So all I'm saying is racism, once again, is not something we as black folks should have to fix. We didn't invent racism. White folks did. So they need to figure out, and they need to realize at the end of the day, these kings and queens are standing up, and we're making a stand.
That's right. That's right.
Sister.
Yeah, so I'm an educator. So guess what? Racism, you're not born with it. Racism is absolutely taught. Absolutely taught. This was my brother Frederick Douglass. Hey, I see you, Frederick. I see you. He said it's easier to build strong children than to what? Repair broken men. Strong children. Racism is definitely taught. So when you're in that kindergarten level, when you're a kid, you go ahead and model that for our children. Put a black child, put a white child right there together. What's the difference? Let's have a class discussion. Absolutely nothing.
Not one thing.
Right.
Racism is taught. And so when I get emails all the time from JCPS educators, they say, Shay, what can I do? Because guess what? They're not telling me that they were taught by their mothers and their fathers and their grandparents that they're better than us. What can I do? I said, don't be silent. Don't be silent. Get in this fight with us because racism, again, you're not born with it.
Right.
You're not born. And what we have to do, when I said build it, thank you, Frederick. When I said we have to build these strong children, what do we have to do? We have to let them know that they are resilient, right? They are resilient, right? What builds resilience, right? Letting you know every single day affirmations. You are awesome. You are amazing. You can do anything but fail. You are strong. You are powerful. You are intelligent. You are so smart. There's nobody in this world that has your DNA. Right? Strong children. That's what we have to build, right? Because when they become a man, it's hard to convince them that black is the lesser. It's hard to convince them that their skin color is definitely powerful, more powerful than mine. So what we need to do is go into those 2, 3, and 4-year-old classrooms, and we have them, and they are so smart. They are so smart, and show them we are no different. We have a heart, we have a brain, we have skin cells, but guess what? Your hue is a little bit lighter than mine. A little bit. So guess what? It starts with mom and dad gonna do it in the home. Everybody goes to school. Everybody goes to school. It's so much easier to build strong children than to change the decision of grown, I don't cuss, but I would say grown amen.
And let's start right here on this end right here and go straight down with the same question.
All right.
Oh, I got so caught up in
Come on, brother.
The question was, when I'm driving down the highway, okay, and they pull me over for no reason, when you put your knee on my neck, okay, when I'm constantly burying black men around America, talk to me about how do we begin to break down racism in America? How do we fix that? How do we become safe in our own homes?
Wow. Great question. So forgive me if I'm not self-centered on black people. I know that a lot of Native Americans were as chocolate as anything in this room today. But when I call myself an African American, me personally, my name is Jabriyll Izsrael. My children have been to Egypt, Mecca, and Jerusalem. My wife still lives there. I don't want to be here.
Okay.
I told my children they couldn't come back from Egypt.
Come on.
Because daddies are fighting the war. And if you come back, you have no home here. I'm not going to treat you like you deserve a place of comfort in this society. It's not written for us here. That's what I tell my family. Okay, so I'm not at all deceived into believing that white supremacy is about to cut us justice because we pled for it, or we taught them properly, or we explained it properly. However, I do know in myself, ultimately, they can't do it without us.
Come on, brother.
All right, so I believe our experience of suffering here as a people has put us in a unique position to not just sit here and speak so eloquently and wisely. Let me say that word again, wisely. I don't hear wisdom spoken in these smart conversations. We need to use the word wisdom, okay? We can bypass college if we tell our children to read the Bible, get your 7 streams of income, and get your flock straight before you get a wife. Oh, let's not go there.
No.
Hey, it's in the Bible. You don't gotta go to college to get that. You don't gotta go to college to get that.
Come on.
Wisdom will make you prosperous in life, regardless of where you come from.
That's exactly.
But ultimately, I believe our experience here, my suffering here, I earnestly believe God did this to create a people that have the moral integrity necessary to judge the world righteously.
Come on.
Right, true.
I don't think anybody on the earth is going to see true justice, freedom, and peace until African American people are in a position to lead the world.
You teach it.
I just don't believe it. That's my spiritual bias, but as I look at it in 2020, who's going to save the world? The youth are the future. They're hip-hop. That sprang out of the civil rights struggle. It's sprang Afrocentric Hebraic culture, whatever you want to call it. But we have to seize the wisdom that God has instilled in us. Look at our experiences and realize, no, we didn't go out here and murder every white person just because we're mad about racism. We got integrity.
That's what we got.
Right.
And we have the skill set necessary to lead the world in the peace.
Resilience.
Right.
So ultimately, I think it's just us cleaning up our character, continue to push forward and empowering ourselves,
Right.
educating our children,
Yes.
building strong children. But I
That's
feel for a certainty, this generation that we're raising up, they're gonna do it, man.
Teach us.
They're gonna do
Teach
it.
us. Teach us.
Okay. Nephew.
We can't stop racism today, tomorrow. I don't know, we ain't been around forever. But what I do know, like what you was talking about, Christine, it started with the children. So another thing I also know is all broke down to color. Just take a conversation, more white people have conversations about you about racism. When they talk to you about racism, then they'll talk about a program like Black Lives Matter. Well, why is it called Black Lives Matter? Did you know it was a white organization? Well, why is it Black Lives Matter? It's just a black straight on there that makes it a bad organization, you know? So, understanding that, and it's people that's in their 30s and 40s, you know, it's never gonna go nowhere. If you ask me, you know, we can start with our children, but if that's the case, in 1954, you know, Brown versus Ford, when they integrated schools, even with the Civil Rights Act in 1964, it's like a slack in there where we stop teaching. So when you stop teaching, you setting up the next generation for failure anyway.
Yeah, right.
We can talk all day, but where's it gonna get you if you don't keep on being persistent and constant?
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Teammate, I heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Pull your mic a little closer.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Check. This thing on.
Okay.
There you go.
Yo, so look, right before I perform, see, I was cool up in here. Now my heart, I can feel it.
Come on.
I can feel it.
Come on.
That's fear, right? So I know what I was walking in here to, right? And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, right? Because I know that I don't even know who said it because I'm my heart rate, right? But they said the best thing for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing.
Thank you.
So my name is Ricky Green and I'm here, right, with this community connections. My name is Dollar Green and I'm here,
Come on.
right? I have two boys, two white boys, 10 and 7, Caden and Kendall. I want to talk for a minute because at my home, everybody that comes behind me, where I come from racism. I come from racism.
There you go.
That's where I come from.
Yeah.
And the shit stops with me.
Thank
The
you.
cycle,
Thank you.
the cycle for see and I want to be clear because I'm so small. I am one human being. Right? So when we talk about ending racism, I agree with you, teammate.
Yeah.
I don't think the burden of that is on the black community. I think the burden of that lies on the white community because they are the ones in a position of power who wrote the laws to preserve their power.
That's
right? So let me be real clear because me and Scrilla be having these heated discussions. And I did say they wrote those laws to protect their power, right? Because if we say
There's a lot of truth to that.
and me and Scrilla be going back and forth, and me and Scrilla be having the best conversation. So I want to say some stuff because what I'm doing though, as my human being, right? I'm doing mine. I'm here, right? That my Facebook community, that family I'm describing, they're watching right now.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what we're risking? I'm risking mine.
Yeah.
Right, because it is on part of that's on me,
That's
teammate,
right.
and I'm gonna carry it,
That's
right,
right.
and I'm gonna stand under it. And here's the thing, Caden's best friend, he's 10 since 6 weeks old. He met a boy at daycare that his father's not in his life, and he's a little brown boy.
Right.
And that is my dude. They are still best friends, and he's 10. You know what I do for him too? I let him drive my boat. You ought to see the smile on his face.
Yeah.
I let him drive my golf cart. That's my dog. You hear me? Right? So my point is, real quick, 2 minutes. I made notes on this. Collective, 6 weeks. That's it. So I'm doing mine, and I just want to. That's it, man. I'm gonna start rambling, but thank y'all for letting me be here.
That's change. That's change and racism.
Exactly, because it starts at home. So I applaud you for saying that it stops right here.
Boss, can you wrap up this racism for us?
I think he's out of his mind. I think he's committing suicide, to be honest. I think he's doing genocide to his species. Because if he loves me and I love him, he would disappear. He'll be black in 2 generations. If you love me, everybody in your family, all the white people you know, you got 1 or 2 generations, they're going to fade out. Everybody else going to be of color. Because if you love us and you mix with us, everybody's going to be black. The only way you can preserve your whiteness is by to hate me and to murder me and to teach your daughter to hate me, teach your son to hate me. Therefore, they won't breed with me and become black. So in order to love me, you committing genocide. So if we end racism, which keeps us separate as a people, then we're going to have to agree to come back full circle, like at the beginning of time when life began in Africa, when everybody was white before we moved out, different territory, and different people changed hues and colors. So you're going to have to agree to become black once again. And like I tell you all the time, boy, ain't nothing wrong with being black. It's a beautiful thing.
I know.
Being black. I love being black. Only thing I hate about being black, and I keep this real, and I say this to anybody, the worst thing about being black is white folks get on my nerves. Because they treat me like one big black person. No matter how much education I got, no matter how much love I done did, I'm on the board of directors with Community Connections. I do community service. No matter what, I still get treated like that big old gangster. Everywhere I go, they lock their doors, they grab their purse, Karen called the police on me.
everywhere I go, I'm one big nigga.
Can we
That's
say
it.
some?
Huh?
Can we say some?
Some
white
what?
people? Can we say some?
I'm just
white people?
speaking. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not speaking.
Okay,
You know,
I'm talking about for my
all.
white allies.
Huh?
They would, for my white
Nah, they
allies,
okay
they would
with this.
appreciate
They
some.
know what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about. They ain't that sensitive. If they are allies, they know. And y'all have to forgive me.
Yeah.
I've been traumatized. I'm a black man in America. I've been traumatized. You got to forgive me. You know what I'm saying? I'm maybe being a little cuckoo in certain areas because I've been traumatized. I've been slammed by the police. I've been shotguns cocked on me. Been locked in jail. My father been ran up out of my home with crosses burning in the front yard. I've been denied jobs. I've been denied food. I've been denied health care. I'm a little traumatized. So I apologize if I say all instead of some of y'all. Hey, figure it out. It's like a buffet. Take what you can from our conversation, and what you don't need, leave it on the table.
And as you say, if the shoe fits, word.
But what I'm saying is, any white person who's showing me love, you committed genocide to your whole species because it would be gone in two.
So, James, can I just add to that conversation?
Go ahead there, brother. Go ahead, get down.
Hey, Mr. Green.
Yes.
I told you when you first talked to me and everything that you and I had to rap because I told you that when I went in the military, my mother had taught me how to hate white people. It was because the way we grew up in Miami, Florida, I hated white people. With a tremendous, a lot of y'all won't even believe that. I hated white people because my mother passed that on to me because growing up, she never saw her mother. Her mother worked for the Nelsons. My mother had taught me never to say yes ma'am and no ma'am to anybody white. And so what happened, funny thing happened. My mother had to go to work and she left me with my grandmother, okay? And my grandmother got this call from the Nelsons. And guess what happened? I had to go to work with my grandmother to her job. I was just trying to be my mother's son, okay? So when I walked in there, when grandma introduced me to the Nelsons and everything, I carried the weight of my mother, okay? My mama told me not to say yes ma'am and no ma'am to no white people. I remember this. This is traumatized. You talk about trauma. I tell you what happened. My grandmother back in the 60s, she saved me because she slapped my ass all the way back from here to there.
Yeah.
Okay? I said to my grandmother, I'm going to tell my mom.
Yeah.
Okay? And I did. I went home. I witnessed something that is still hurt me to the day. My mama and my grandmother defended me. Okay? But in defending me, she hated her mother. When her mother died, her own mother died, she did not go to her grave. I've had to live with that because I'm the one brought it to her. Do you understand? Yeah. So when I told you about Sergeant Squeaky, when he saw me, and he saw me carrying a hate in my heart, that man took me to his house. This is a story I was going to tell. He took me to his house on Christmas because I really didn't want to go home to Miami because I had hate in my heart.
Yeah.
But this European man, little short thing, we called him Squeaky. He had this little squeaky voice. He invited me over to his house. I'm like, why does a white man invite me to his damn house?
Yeah.
He's down in there. He had me sit down with his family. They had Christmas dinner. I wasn't a Christian at this time. Because my mother, we didn't go to church at all. I didn't know nothing about no religion. Everybody I saw, I thought they were all Jehovah's Witnesses. I never went to church, okay? So, this man sat down with his family and let me eat dinner with them and everything, and then he sent his family away. He did something with me, Green, something that I didn't understand, but you just talking. Let me tell you something. He did something for me. This is what he did, Tim. He took his white skin. He said, Floyd, you're carrying something that doesn't belong to you. He said, Floyd, people who look like me done something to your family and it'll pass something on to you, and it's not your burden.
Yeah.
He said, do you want to be relieved from it? And I said, yes, sir. He said, I'm going to relieve you because I got the anyway, I didn't receive what he said to me to what you talking about. So, yes, people like you got to, but it's not European women. It's European men.
That's right. That's right.
So own it, brother.
That's
Don't
right.
be talking it.
That's
Own
right.
it.
That's right.
Okay.
Come on, Mike, Bruce.
I want to change.
You been out for quiet tonight. You all right, man?
man.
He ain't got no coffee.
Yeah,
He ain't got
yeah.
coffee over there. It's out here for some coffee, man.
You know, this is good conversation, man. So,
And we gotta have these hard conversations.
Right.
yeah.
And we're gonna do this again and again until people get it and start making a change.
We need this in the community. You know, we need these hard, not
I'm
conversations.
just not used to you being this quiet, man.
I ain't never this quiet though, bro.
I saw you put your hand on your knife for 1 minute, and you put your hand on your gun. So I know you got a question for him, Bruce.
Yeah, I got a question for T. T-Mate.
Yeah.
Voting, man. What can we do to get our people out, young and old, to vote? And also, how can we help Amy beat Mitch?
Can we start with somebody else and end with me, please? Because I want to hear from everybody else. I do.
All right, start.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Bruce.
Okay, go ahead, Doc.
I like to, because I got a resource.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do a lot of service work too. I'm on the board of Volunteers of America, the board of directors there. I serve on the Restorative Justice, that was Restorative Justice Louisville, and I've sat recently with the Smart Justice Advocates, and they've created a link, a landing page. Click PAL. My point is, 175,000 Kentuckians were restored the right to vote. That previously didn't have it.
That's right.
It was taken away. Yeah. So they went to work, they lobbied, they got it restored, and there's a link that you all can share. Anybody that has a community, you can share. You click it, name, birthday, and it tells you if you can register or not. So it's a really good resource to have.
What's the website?
It's a link. I got the link from Amanda Hall and Couture. They got the link on their website.
But can you look?
Can you forward it to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna get that link to y'all. That way everybody can share it with all of our communities. So that's all.
Okay. Can we start off here about voting? Anybody have anything? I plead the fifth. Okay. All right.
We need to hear all that stuff, though. We need to hear it good, bad, and ugly, though.
Yeah, no, we hear this speech. Come with it.
Even if you
Man,
say you don't vote.
You at home tonight, man. I want to get everybody's opinion on everything.
My programming is do for self. My programming is kind of like, I just wish we could all come together and, get a collective vote and, go ahead and solicitate our vote where they'll do something for the black people. I see all these people coming talking about people of color or a rising tide lifts all boats. Everything I see, all I keep hearing in my head is that same phrase Camilla Harris say. I ain't gonna do nothing specifically for black people. That's all I hear everybody saying. Amy don't have nothing for us. Mitch don't have nothing for us. I don't know nobody that got nothing for us. Donald Trump came with a platinum plan. I broke the platinum plan down. It looks good on the first line, but by the time you get down to the second line where he's explaining each plan, he done switched it. He done did a flip. He done switched it to minorities. That's white women getting it. He done switched it to people of color. That's immigrants getting it. See, everything in there in the small print takes it right back from us. So we're gonna agree or vote for Trump for the platinum plan, or we're gonna go with Biden with the, I don't know what it is, the lift every voice and same plan or whatever? Same thing. When you go in, so it's just like, I'm so tired of people running game on me. I see the game a mile away.
Yeah.
So I'm like this year, I'm gonna hold my vote a little bit till somebody come give me something. And guess what? If they don't bring me nothing, then let the chips fall where they fall. Because I don't see which one is worse for me. I see one worse for other people. But to be honest with you, I done had less pressure on me since everybody else had to share some pressure from a villain being in the White House. I ain't the only one they scared of. I'm not the only one that's getting worked on. So now, if I see that I get Camilla in or Joe Biden in, who have all through their policy destroyed black people. I don't see like she was talking about what she would have did for Breonna Taylor, but she had a case, she did the same thing Daniel Cameron did. She let him get away with it. She ain't prosecute nobody. So the people that I'm working with or that's coming in, it's no different. The only difference is Donald Trump don't like me. Donald Trump voice, he don't like me. So what? Massa don't like me. Massa say, nigga, get out there and pick that cotton right now. Joe Biden gonna say, hey, why don't you go out there and maybe pick some of that cotton? Don't make no difference. I'm still picking cotton. I want somebody that's gonna let me do something different. That's gonna let me do something. Well, make a couple dollars from the cotton. So if you want my vote, you got to do something for me, just like you do something for everybody else.
Hey. Go Jeffy.
I'm gonna elaborate on Skrilla's conversation. See, I recently was in a community trying to get people to register to vote in the West End. Everybody thought the same way. You know, they wasn't gonna do nothing for them. When nobody, I literally talked to like 200-300 people. I probably got like maybe 5 or 6 people to register. So you know, if everybody think the same way, you ain't gonna get nowhere anyway. Because somewhere gotta be a point of leading. But also understand that we constantly getting let down. So what's the point of voting? But you gotta take a stand in order to make a stand.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Yeah.
So,
At first, when you first asked this question, I was like, oh Lord. The main reason being, I found an organization about 8 years ago called Arts and Activism. Our mission statement was to stimulate the political literacy and engagement of each and every American citizen, black and white. Since I founded that organization, I haven't been able to endorse one political candidate and turn back to my community and say, hey, you can trust what they're gonna say, they're gonna deliver. There hasn't been one politician to come across the aisle say, Jacory, Keisha Dorsey. Only ones I can give my endorsement to.
I'll second that.
And so I know the disparity of those who don't vote, those who don't get engaged in the electoral processes because they don't see anything which represents them. I'm a hood nigga, can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you on Facebook, say what you want.
Yeah, I'm from Cecil and Broadway. I'm really a hood nigga, but my kids, they have been to Mecca, Egypt, Jerusalem. My wife does live there. And I am self-educated. And I know there's not a political candidate that's running on the platform or the ideas and interests which are most important to me and my community. It's so bad. On October 12th, I'm going to announce that I'm running for office because ain't nobody representing me. I tried to back out of it. Members from Kentucky Alliance about 3 years ago made me swear I would run for office. I said, I'm not the guy. That's why I founded Arts and Activism, because I was coming in from so many directions. I had to find a way to create a platform to run on because community members demanded it. And here I am again. You talking about that? But we gotta run more. So they can't just fall on deaf ears for me. I have to do something about it. But at any rate, I know, man, like, our people need freedom. No freedom, nothing's functioning. Who's demanding that from us? Why we can't get a Declaration of Independence up to the UN? Why is our suing for reparations and restitution for war crimes such a hard thing to do? Because we don't have political candidates that are running on those platforms. I'm going.
Donald, can you answer that real quick? Hold on now. I gotta get everybody in. Hold on. Okay. Donald, I wanna get you in, because I'm hoping that at least one person at this table votes. I'm just hoping that one person at this table votes. So go ahead, Donald, and then we're gonna start down there with Brother Daniels and come back and get the latest.
I think it's important to vote on the, like, I'm with Scrilla on the presidential candidates. Yeah. I hate one and the other one's a little bit challenged, right? That's the nice way I say that. But I think the voting is crucial when it comes to local elected officials making a difference. Like, that's where it comes into play. Is when you find Jabriyll, like what Jabriyll was talking about. Because locally, when you find somebody who does represent your best interest, and you can't hear me. All right. Yeah. So the local vote matters. Yeah. That's how I feel. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
How y'all doing? This is Sean Bucker over Voices Radio. All right.
Yeah.
Got my people's with
There
me.
it is.
All right.
Welcome, Sean.
Look, I'm about to break it down to you.
Break it down, Sean. Break it down.
You had so many questions and so many. First, you want to change voting? You want a new president? We got to grow it.
Yep.
Ain't not going to change from the current to what we got right now. You want to stop racism? We got to unify.
They done told us the script because they done unified. We have not. We can't beat a system unless we create a system. A system beats a system.
What was the other question?
Amen.
Amen. A vote. We got a story here in Kentucky. Kentucky is the most important state as far as voting in this election. First, in order for us to get rid of Trump, we got to get rid of Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitch been in office 36 years. What have he done for us? Now, I'm not saying Amy's the answer, but we had 36 years of knowing that Mitch ain't the answer.
Yeah.
So we got to do something.
Yeah.
But, in order to get...
And that was the question.
Yeah.
If you want to get rid of them, how do you get rid of them? You go vote, right?
Right, we go vote, but we got to have a candidate worth voting for.
We can't reward Amy.
Right. Amy ain't touched down in the West End. Amy ain't came to the protest.
But the thing,
Amy ain't said Breonna Taylor's name.
But the thing about it is, that's all we got. So we
Right, you only got two.
I'd rather suffer 4 more years till I get something better.
I mean, this is the problem. They not touching on none of the black people problems right now. Ain't none of them said, I want to go to the West End and see what's really going on in the West End.
Okay, thank you, brother. Miss
There
Johnson.
is no way that I can tell my son and my daughter that I'm not voting. There's no way. I march almost every single day, and I hold a poster in my hand that says silence is not an option. Silence is not an option. That man, Tuesday, was enough for me. When he told his boys, stand back.
Say it.
He said, stand back. And I took that very personal. And I come from the elementary field, so I'm a visual learner. So I took that very personal of telling his boys right in front of me with my poster and my kids on the side to stand back. Hold on for a second till I give you a word. So silence for me, silence for Shay, silence for Christina Johnson. By the way, it's with the NA. It's not an option. So when Jabriyll says, Mama, who you voting for? I have to give her an answer. I have to give doing nothing is doing nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, and I'm talking about Shay, for me, if I do not vote, that's giving,
I'm about to mess them all up.
it's giving him, Donald Trump, a vote. This is just for Shay.
Okay.
So when
break it down, Shay. Break it down.
Yeah, so when my kids say, Mama, who you voting for? They're not saying, are you voting? They're saying, who are you voting for? Because in my home, silence is not an option, and it has to start somewhere. I do not believe anything he said Tuesday. I can't err on his side. I can't err with ignorance. This man is completely ignorant to me. In darkness and light, they don't comprehend. And I'm all about the light. I'm all about the light. They don't comprehend. So when you told your boys to stand by, because Shay's on the front line with this sign, right, stand by, they just said, hold on for a second. Just don't, he didn't say stop. He said stand back, which just means pause.
Yeah, just in case he lose the election.
That's right.
Just pause, right? So when my babies look me in my face, when my students look me in my face, and my friends and my family, silence is not an option for Shay.
I have to second you on that, sister, because I feel the same way. Ever since I've been 18 years old, I've voted every election. I don't care what the election is, primaries, I don't care who's running. I'm going to get out there and vote because that is my right to do. And that's the right thing to do because once again, I have grown kids and I've always instilled in them, every election, you take 5 minutes out of your day and you go vote. Because of nothing else you put that vote in there to make a difference. And with whoever, I don't tell them who to vote for, but you go and you vote. And I would say, I cannot stand by and not vote for the presidency. I cannot take 4 more years of Trump, period. I cannot take 4 more years of a psychopath running this country. I can't take 4 more years of being on pins and needles, not knowing what's going to happen the next morning when I wake up because he's done something that's just so outrageous, it's ridiculous. Or seeing the leader of our country get in front of national television and mock disabled people, people that's on drugs, women, degrading women. When did we stoop so low that we think that his behavior is acceptable? Why have we stooped so low that no one is holding him accountable for his actions and his behavior? And his words cut deep. So when he tells his boys just to stand by, we all know what stand by means. When I give you the words, then it's time to move. Because he's already said if he loses this election, he ain't going out willingly.
On the war.
He's not leaving willingly. So we already know what we're ready to deal with. And when it comes to Amy and Mitch time is up. Now don't get me wrong, Amy would possibly not be my choice. For one, she has not once reached out to the black community. She has not reached out to any black leaders. She has not even addressed Breonna Taylor's murder. She has not addressed the protest. She has not came to one protest. She has not went on her, checked her website. Nothing. So I even went on her page and put a long post on there telling her, you are dropping the ball. And as black people and as African American people in Louisville, Kentucky, you want our vote, but you can't come down here and speak to us? That's a problem.
But you're gonna reward her.
Well, I'd rather reward her than reward Mr. Combs. So
Yeah.
I only have
Too much power.
I only have two options. I have two options. I have Mitch McConnell and I have Amy. And at the end of the day, I'm speaking for Stacy, I'm going to vote regardless. So I'm going to vote the way I want to vote. So if I'm sick of Mitch, he's been in there for 37 years, and it's time for a change. I'm not saying she's the answer, but guess what? In 4 more years, or 2 more years, I get to vote again.
And it's gonna be somebody just like her, because
You don't know who it's going to be.
They're gonna do the same thing too.
You don't know who's
They're
going to
gonna
be.
throw somebody else who ain't worthy.
You don't know.
I just want to say one thing.
So-
if our ancestors are all crowded this room right now, you know what they went through. You know what they went through to
That's
get
why
the
I'm
right to
giving them
vote.
for
To
free.
get the right to vote. To get the right to vote. You know what they went through.
Nah,
So
so-
if they crowded this room and you tell them, sorry, I don't like neither one of them.
I ain't gonna give my vote away for free. I need to. That's why I want to plead the fifth, because in the room.
Hold on,
I gotta explain myself.
Hold on, let me get Harry. T-May's gonna be the last one. I wanna get Brother Daniels down there.
I'm gonna mess all y'all up.
You ain't gonna mess me up. I know how to play this political chess. You ain't gonna mess me up. I know what I'm doing. I'm done.
Yeah, listen.
I got 3 in.
Listen.
I got my tangible.
All right.
Bro, you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm 60 years old. Come January 21. All right. And I will say that I'm not voting for Mitch. Mitch got to go. And I don't know if any of you, but I've talked to Mitch. I know Mitch. Mitch knows me. Okay, we have conversation, and Mitch knows how I feel about him. I am voting for President Trump. I voted for him to get in. I never voted for Obama. Not one time. Obama didn't do it for me, all right? And I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm voting for Trump. I voted for Trump because he was not my pick initially. I definitely was not gonna vote for no damn Hillary. That's for damn sure, okay? But I voted for Trump for the very same reason that I told Mr. Green that what Squeaky did for me. I voted for Trump for the same very reason I want him to be in now. I'm voting for Trump for the very same reason that we're going through what we're going through now. I'm voting for Trump for the same reason that you're saying what you're saying, okay? We need to stop this racism in this country. And the only way you deal with racism is letting it come out and be comfortable among themselves so you can confront it. Now, I'm a surgical technologist. 98% of the market that I work in is among people that do not look like me. So when Trump came out and became president, guess what everybody in there, everybody felt very comfortable coming out saying what they wanted to say. And I had the opportunity to confront them and deal with them and get them to understand that that's not the behavior someone who call themselves believing in God and doing the things they need to do, talking about racism. I believe the best way that you can deal with people is you look them in the eyes and you cause them to look at you and you deal with them up front. So no, President Trump or no European American is my boogeyman. For 30 years, I've been a conservative. Before Trump got in there, I was voting conservative views, but not straight party. I vote my interests, my particular things that are important for me and my family. Now, I don't know about any of you all, but I put my children to college. That's my responsibility. My household, I'm not bragging, but I gotta keep it real, all right? Bottom line is, my net worth is pretty doggone good, all right? My wife had just bought a home, okay, in this pandemic. What we found out is that this 2020, we actually was blessed. I didn't even realize how blessed we were until this pandemic. Hey, baby, we doing pretty doggone good. We moved. The crazy thing is that when I moved out of the West End and everything, I had people that called me Uncle Tom, sell out and everything, because I chose to move my family out of a decaying community. I lived in that community for 23 years. I bought a home for $45,500. 20 years, you make an investment into a home, you expect to get a return. And after 23 years, I sold that home for $39,900. Because you know why? You know why? Because James, did I have a beautiful house?
You did.
I have a beautiful house. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know why you sold for $39,900 when I'm seeing houses in the West End going for, I have a cousin that bought a house on 36 off of Broadway for $108,000. There's houses on the Parkway that's going for over $200,000. So all I'm saying to you is I don't know why you lost money.
It's my truth. Okay. I actually had someone come in and try to offer me $19,000 for my home, okay? So don't tell me what I don't know. I'm telling you my truth. I ain't telling your truth. I'm talking about my truth.
No, I didn't say it was my truth. I'm just telling you what the market is right now. The West End is going to come up.
I'm talking. This was a year ago.
Okay.
This was a year ago. I've been out of that almost 2 years now. But I'm talking about the time when I sold mine.
Are you going to count that to voting some kind of way?
So what? Okay.
Right.
Let's count the voting points real quick.
Okay. The voting
time is still running, though, right?
You know, my time is running. So the bottom line is that just like this is America, you should vote your interests, okay? You should vote your interests, all right? What it is that you're getting out of this should be your interests, okay? It ought to not be based on color, ought to not be based on anything else. It should be ordered your interests, and that's all I'm gonna say. Vote your interests.
Appreciate it. Brother T's on you now.
Right. I just wanted to listen to everybody, because I think listening is important. So I listened to Malcolm X when he said it's either the ballot or the bullet. Negro, you ain't got enough bullets, bro. And they done bought them all up. I'm sorry. They bought all the bullets up. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna be politically engaged. And I'm gonna leave with this too. Every time I hear Negroes, and I'm gonna look at the camera, every time I hear Negroes say that black people don't have political power, you are putting down black women. Stop disrespecting our black women. Because black women run the Democratic Party. Don't get it twisted. Do not disrespect Maxine Waters. Do not disrespect the groundwork that Shirley Chisholm laid for us. Do not respect a Muslim woman named AOC who has flipped Congress up. Don't disrespect black women because they run it. I don't care if you like it or love it, hate it or want to do away with it. Kamala Harris is a tangible, negotiable item.
Yes,
That's what she was.
Yes, she is.
She was a negotiation from Biden to us saying, I want your vote. What Trump did to get our vote with the Platinum Plus program, that was a negotiable item. We had the right to say yay or nay. We said nay. But it shows the power of the vote. That this racist ass man who wants to stop us from voting, who's done everything to make sure we can't vote, is now saying, if I can't stop your vote, I gotta pay your ass for it. Do you know that's the power we have? And the reason why we don't know our power is because we don't know our history. We don't know during the Reconstruction period a record number of black men and women, black men, because women wasn't in yet, you know, took political office. That's why they created Jim Crow. We was getting ready to get too much power. You have to know your history. You have to know. So what I'm saying to you is, we gotta play this game called political chess. You know what Amy is? You know what Biden is, Scrilla?
What it is.
They pawns in the chess game, dog.
Amen.
What do you do in chess to win the game? You sacrifice your pawn.
tangible item. Because look, I was for Kamala the whole time. Because I feel like a black woman can create change.
Okay.
Because women think different than men.
Yes, we do.
And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same damn thing
No,
over
no,
and over
no.
expecting a different
Yeah.
A man ain't gonna fix this right here. That a woman's gonna do it. It's gonna be a woman. So I got my Kamala in. But I understand that Amy and Biden, they're my pawns. I'ma use them.
Okay.
I'ma use them to get us they're not the solution, bro. But they do get us closer to the goal line of where we need to be.
That's right.
Okay? And then another thing, I'm gonna end with this. Most people who don't believe in the political process is because they're not part of the political process. Okay?
Right.
Because look, I know Keisha Dorsey. I know Jessica Green. I know Ja'Cory Arthur. I saw the process from the beginning to the end when they started the campaign and to them winning their elected seat in Metro Council. I saw it. I was part of it. So when you got people that you know that hold political office and you saw how they did it, you believe in the system. The system does work if you participate. But you have to participate.
That's right.
You can't just be on the sideline saying, I'm gonna wait. Wait for what?
What are
You
you
gotta
waiting
do it
for?
now. You gotta do it now. So what I'm saying is this. The reason why that knee could be on George Floyd's neck, policy. Guess what policy is? Voting. The reason they can deny you health care, voting. The reason why our kids can't go to school for free, voting. The reason why there's a wealth gap in this country, voting. Everything is voting, y'all. It's policy. It's their game. You gotta play their game. Or just leave. Go to a black country where you ain't gotta deal with this shit. But my ancestors built this shit. I ain't going
Let's talk about
You gonna give me, so I'm in with this job. Vote or keep dying.
Hey T, I'm so glad that you broke that down the way you did, beautiful, because it's important to vote. And if
Yeah,
you don't
it's
vote,
important to vote, yes.
it's important to vote, guys. Now listen to me. Let's go right real quick. I just got 2 more questions and we're gonna wrap this up tonight. Let's talk about black wealth, black economics. You know, how do we become part of the team? T, I want to start with you. Black wealth, black economics. Do we have enough money to do our own thing? Talk to me.
Well, I like talking about black economics because that's really what this country is. This capitalist country is built on wealth. We got to close that wealth gap. That's why reparations is so important to our community. Because what we see in the West End and what we're not talking about right now, because we focused on Brianna, is the homicides in the West End. And what I want to tell you is that poverty equals violence.
That's what it is.
You ain't
That's
gonna
what it is.
solve
That's what it is.
gun killings until you solve the economic climate in the city of Louisville. We need equity, y'all. We need money. We need it in hand for our families. And I know, Scrilla and we do for self. We already did for self. We already did that. We've been doing it. I build every day. I bought a new home in 2016 under Trump too. That's for me working every day. I work every day. And I got a small business called Wave FM.
Amen.
You know what I'm investing. I ain't one of these lazy Negroes that's laying in bed, and that's a stereotype. That don't exist. Most of us are putting in work, yo, every day. Every day. But we're denied. But we gotta get to the money. It's the only way you solve the ills of our community. So what I'm saying is that, y'all, we got to start supporting black owned. When is the last time you saw a Chinese person coming in our community shopping?
Never.
They don't do that shit. They don't do it. We gotta support our own, y'all. I know a two beautiful black queens. They own a hair shop, 4420 Dixie Highway. It's called Super Beauty. Go support those women, y'all. They opened up during COVID and got shut down, and they're hanging on. They trying to hang on, but the problem is that you got $1 trillion industry that black women are giving to the Asians. We gotta stop that, y'all. And we do that in every industry, y'all. It ain't just the queens, because the brothers, we buying up tennis shoes from Nike. When you got somebody like David Banner that makes shoes himself. So that's where we start, James. We start with empowering ourselves, our own business. Shop black, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I have a black media company called Wave FM, y'all. Wave FM. And the reason why that's so important is because media is important. They got a whole network. Fox Network is dedicated to their agenda.
Yes.
We gotta have our shit too. We don't own BET no more. Bob Johnson sold that. He sold us out. That's Viacom. That's white owned. But we gotta have our own, y'all. Please support these nonprofits, these grassroots nonprofits, because they're gonna solve the problems that's going on in our neighborhoods. They're gonna solve it. But it's gotta start with us. Shop black, y'all. That's how we empower ourselves. You gotta shop black.
Stacy, let's talk economics.
Let's talk economics. So, you know, everybody has a problem with giving us black folks our reparations that we justly due. And once again, we should have that. We've been suppressed for so many. Just imagine if we had the same opportunities back in the day with buying land, buying homes. Can you imagine where we would be in today's time if we had those same opportunities back then? So in order to close that gap with T-May, we have to start supporting our black companies, the people that surround us that's trying to do better, that's trying to step up, and stop taking our money to other companies. I know we get comfortable with it. Oh, we go to the hair store, we go to the Asians. Well, my sister around the corner got the same thing in her store, so why don't you go around the corner and support the sister around the corner? And please don't ask her for a discount, because you don't go in the Asian stores and ask them for a discount. And the same way with the boutiques that all the young ladies are opening up. You want to go in her store and want to negotiate a price, but you go out in Jefferson Mall and Oxmoor Mall and pay for a price for the same thing you're going to get out of her boutique. So we got to start thinking about us as a whole and supporting each other, because that's the only way we're going to grow. Because one thing for sure, ain't any white folks running down here in the West End trying to go to those stores to buy anything out of the West End.
Restaurants.
Not even the restaurant.
Big mamas, they'll go get
Yeah, they go get Big Mamas. That's about it. But that's about all you're gonna see them, because they're gonna go on Dixie Highway to Franco's before they go down to Big Mamas.
What about Miss
So-
Peaches?
Yeah.
But my thing is, we have to start supporting our own businesses, and we have to start, and actually, we have to start opening more businesses, because we're still missing out on different areas that we could tap into.
Yeah.
But you can't tap into something if you don't have the following to come and keep your business successful.
Yeah.
But the thing
Ms.
about
Johnson, go ahead, Bruce, go ahead.
But the thing about it is, we on this hair thing. The first person that sold hair in the black community was a black man that sold out to the Asians. Every time we start something,
We should have
we
whooped his
sell
ass.
it out.
We should have whooped his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, hair is a billion.
He started the first hair salon, the first selling the first hair in Chicago, Illinois, and he sold it to the Asians.
But guess what? We moved on from there.
But now we haven't, because every time we start something that's profitable, we sell out. We go
sell
for the money.
Yeah.
And now that you said it,
Every time.
I was talking to all my natural hair girls that used to use curls, daughters, that they love so much, and she sold out to someone else. And now,
It's not the same.
and it's not the same. They have stretched it. They said
Yeah,
it's
don't
more
do the same
water-based,
thing.
so your hair is not getting as much. So anyway, back to that. I was just making that point. When we do make it big, they end up selling out.
That's
All
true.
right.
We
Ms.
go-
Johnson.
Bruce,
Yeah.
can I
Miss
piggyback on what
Johnson.
Bruce said? Can I piggyback on what Bruce said?
Go ahead.
This is real quick, y'all. We gotta learn this too. We can't really do what other people do, because we know there's a big model out there that says you build a business to sell it. But that's not for us. That's not unique to us, because we sell our shit. We ain't got nothing. Bob Johnson sold BET. That's all we had. Now, do we got another black TV station?
No.
We don't. That's not for
Yeah,
us.
we do.
Oh yeah, but that's not serving us. Our kids don't watch that shit. What's that? Oh, it ain't even for us. That's for white women. Are you serious?
Exactly.
That's for middle-aged white women.
You can't have that.
That's Oprah's base. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. The black woman owns it, but it's not for us. Her market is middle-aged black women. Okay, we can say TV1, but TV1 is for older black people. It's not for our young people. You understand what I'm saying? There is no other BET that's inspiring the young generation, the next generation. So we can't do that. We need to build back black business for generational wealth, not to sell it off. We got to worry about generational wealth.
So what I want to say,
The difference between economics, black economics and white economics is, the white people, they got old money.
Exactly.
That's
They
right.
got old money. The Fords, you know, they got old money from generation money, 1920 money. We got 1999 money.
Exactly. We wasn't able to build that same wealth back in the day.
But we did start off with land.
Well, we have wealth available there to us.
Can I say, may I say, I think it's my turn. I think it's
Go-
my turn.
go ahead, Sister
We have to
Johnson.
stop focusing on the past. We have to. I'll go back again. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Broken men owe money. Right now, we have to teach our brown and black children math and science. They ain't got it. I'm in the classroom. They are failing with math and science. Brother down here said, I bought a house. It's a beautiful house, ain't it? Guess what, brother? Stacy and myself bought a house in 2022. Guess what? It is beautiful. Guess what? I had a black realtor and I had a black banker, right? I had a black realtor and a black banker. I got all my paperwork in. All my paperwork in. But it was other people at the table that did not look like me. You know what they said to me, brother? That's what they said. You have a deposit of $67 in your account. Where'd that come from?
Yep.
Oh, they did me the same way. When I
When I say they looked at that last name and the last name said Johnson, there was an inkling to, wait a minute, we are not serving our own. So I went to my white friends and I said, were you asked these same questions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. By the grace of God, I got my beautiful home. But what I'm saying is, it starts again with our children. We have to teach them math and science. Our babies are not reading, y'all. They're not reading. So what I'm saying to you is, let's talk about the present. When was the last time anyone at this table, anyone in Radio Land, filled out a form that says, I can come in and volunteer with our children? I can get him or her on grade level.
I do watchdog all the time.
You're part of the watchdog, right? So I'm not talking to you. What about your brother next and your brother next and your brother? I'm talking to the black churches, and I'm talking to the black churches. Where are all of our senior saints that have retired and you at home? Give me 2 hours. I want to present this to polio so bad. Give me 2 hours a day where our mothers can come in and sit down and pull up a chair with Robert and get him at reading level. Maybe Robert is interested in math. Maybe Robert is interested in math or science. But you go in Robert's classroom, and I'm talking because my sister, her birthday is today, God rest her soul, she was on crack for 24 years, left us with 9 kids. They are the kids that when you go into the classroom, guess where they're sitting? Facing that wall. But it starts with our children. We can talk about it all day. The only grocery store that we got in the West End is what? Kroger's. Why is that?
They ain't even owned by us.
Why is that? You understand what I'm saying? So the solution is, we've got to teach our children. We've got to teach our children. And they are failing at record numbers. So what can you do? Glad you asked. You asked great questions. You can go volunteer at a school and get our babies on grade level so they can be interested in the math and sciences, so they can approve people for home ownership, so we can get more than a Kroger and a Burger King and chicken.
And Dollar Tree.
All right. Mr. Daniels, did you have anything to say about black wealth and economics and building and how to get the money?
Oh, Mr. Linton, I'm sorry. Mr. Linton, let me say this, I'm sorry. Because the hair business is a $1 billion business. And all of us, $1 trillion, I'm sorry. And all of us didn't sell out. My beautiful, awesome, amazing husband, Daryl Johnson, who owns Barbers R Us and been cutting her for 20-some, owns it. Barbers R Us. My beautiful sister-in-law, Mimi Johnson, who owns Beautiful Hair. Everybody can sell out. We are owning business. I got my business. It's called Mindful in Me. I teach mindfulness in the community because guess where our mind is? Gone. So we have to talk about the present. We have to talk about the present and move on.
Thank you, sister.
So my injection to all this is that there's 3 things that we need to do to be able to build economic wealth in a capitalist society owned by the dominant European establishment. is that you first got to introduce new legislation and get off their plan. See, as long as we allow ourselves to continue being called niggers, Negroes, blacks, and African American, then they're controlling us. We got to first pass new legislation to come off their plan. So that's why we say on our page, we're American descendants of slaves. One, so pass new legislation to change that we no longer want to see ourselves, which actually James Baldwin actually said that I'm not your Negro anymore. It's the reason why he was saying it. You need to go read what he was talking about. He specifically said, and I will add to this, he's gay. There's something that he specifically said that he realized. He realized that all his European friends was hanging out and going gay and everything. One thing, they continued letting him know that he was a nigga. Everywhere he went, so all the education, all the intellect, everything that he had, one thing he realized, it did not change the fact that he was a nigga. And so he realized at the end of his life, he said, we need to get off of that, okay? We have to be something else so they can see us and see us specifically who we are. And so we have to get off their system and stop calling ourselves Negroes, blacks, and African Americans, and let them see us as we are American descendants of slaves. That's one, new legislation. We have to, the new legislation two is we have to pass legislation to get away from color. So the first one was change identity, the second one, color. Get the color off the table. The third one is the most important one, and a lot of y'all not even ready for it. Say, I've already done it because I'm a man of what I say. Even though I said that I practiced being a Republican for 30 years, to be a man of my word, I realized that the only way that I'm going to make them come to the table for me, for us, is that I have to become an independent. So you cannot continue riding Republican or Democrat, okay, and they will see you only as they have perceived you in the box that you're in. So you got to come off both of those, and you got to become an independent. The moment that you become an independent, they have to bring things specifically to you, or they don't get your vote. The longer you continue staying Democrat and Republican, they will only perceive you in the box that they have you in.
Thank you, brother. We're an hour over. Now, when I go to this side real quick, I'm just going to go straight down the line. But do me a favor, take 1 minute, because I'm going to have one quick question after we get down to boss. And then we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to do it again. Social media is blowing up. So we appreciate you guys being here and going overtime, because we have to have these hard conversations to begin to have the change that we need to have in our community. So I'm going to start right here with the economics.
In 2018, there was a report in Forbes that stated that by 2020, hip-hop culture would dominate American politics, American education, as well as corporate America. But now 2020, and the civil rights struggle of this modern age, Black Lives Matter movement, has done well to position us precisely in that position. And so it's a new day. We have this thing called the Roadmap to Rebuilding Black Louisville. October 9th, 10th, and 11th, we're doing a unity prayer at Brianna Square. The main purpose is to create and give out a plausible solution, how we can unify our community economically. Akon is building a $6 billion futuristic city in Senegal that'll be done by 2026. $6 billion.
Yeah.
I was in New York for 9/11, and Hillary Clinton got $40 billion just for the World Trade Center. Like Louisville, because we now dominate politics, education, and corporate America in Louisville, is in a position to do everything Akon's going to accomplish by 2026 and more. But we set forth with the vision and put forth the work necessary to accomplish it. We're talking about economic empowerment. So there's a lot of different moving parts to that. But I know that today we're in a position where we dominate politics, education, and corporate America. Where we go now is up to us.
Yes.
God and America has got to acknowledge we have to inject billions, hundreds of billions, trillions into the African American community in order to bridge the gap, or America will never work again.
So true.
So now it's like, it's a new day. It's a new day to examine the possibilities of economic empowerment in the Black community, and I'm hopeful. I'm gonna shut up because I know we only have one more.
Generational wealth. Let's talk about generational wealth. One way to build it, I believe, like you, education. It always gonna start with education. You gotta teach kids to shop black. You know, another thing is shop black owned. You know, you gotta teach people to do it. Because if I go to Billy Bob and you go over to Uncle Dan's or something, you know, that's one thing we can do. Another thing is teach kids, you know, about good credit.
That's good.
Yep, how to do taxes.
That's good.
How to purchase a property.
That's good.
Debt management. Then also health is wealth. You know, you just can't settle on that too. So you gotta teach them about stress management, healthy relationships. You know, one thing I did learn about being on the panel though, you know, put a whole bunch of great minds in one room. So when people was talking, you know, one person's over here, then you got a person over here, and you got another person over here. You know, we 2 5 apart. So if you put everybody together, you know, you can solve by unity. You know, and that's just generational wealth right there.
Dollar.
Repeat the question again real quick. I'm dead serious. I don't know nothing about black wealth. Here's what I know though. Here's what I know though. My people, I didn't come from the people who wrote these laws. My people didn't. We was on the boat. And we started off as indentured servants. Right? Right? I come from the same man. Well, I don't come from like when my parents die, that's gonna come from my pocket. That's where I come from. Right? But what I do know is that when we collaborate, when we work together, right, it's about degrees of separation. I am a white male, so I'm a couple less degrees away from separation of rich white males than other folks, right? So when I use my resources, just about being a good human being, right, there are other people who feel the exact same way I do, right, about sharing resources. We work together, we collaborate, right? Because unfortunately and fortunately, we live in a capitalistic society. Yeah. So in order to prosper, that is the definition of prosper. You have to succeed financially. So I'm just trying to work together with whoever I can to get up top.
Or you use your white privilege to...
that's a resource.
That's a resource.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's a resource.
That's what I'm talking about, the degrees of separation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. So that's all I got about black wealth. I don't know that.
All right, boss. Help me out. Reparations. That's something they give a people who, like, at the end of a war or at the end of a Holocaust or something, right? How we gonna get ours? We still in war. We still in our Holocaust. How we gonna get reparations? Maybe later on when it's over, they might give it to us. And if they do give it to us right now, give them 2 years, they have it right back because we spend it with them. And if we don't spend it with them, we try to spend it and build our own, then where's our army? Because they just gonna do talks and come take it. See what I'm saying? We got so much we got to get in place before we can even handle the money. I don't want reparations at this second because they get it right back. Give me a second. Let me get ready first.
But you put that in the policy, though.
Put what in the policy?
You put in the policy.
A law?
No.
You break laws.
You put in the economic policy in there that you teach people how to work their wealth, how to spend the money, how to buy land, how to buy business.
Who gonna teach them? So you telling me?
Hold on. You don't think the Jewish had America teach them how to be capitalists?
That's one white brother teaching another white brother.
Hold on real quick. You know America is a corporation, right? It's a business, right? So every race that has received reparations in America, because there's a lot of
Japanese,
we can name
Jewish, Indians, everybody.
Okay, so what I'm saying is in that policies and in that agreement, it was in there how they should distribute their wealth, spend their dollars. There was education in there. So that's what we do. We put that component, it's got, Everything is education.
Yeah.
The Black Panther Party taught us that. You have to educate every component of what we do. The education component must be there. You teach us.
We the only demographics of people. This is one time that I agree with a lot of things. I was surprised. I agree with a lot of things.
You should agree with everything.
We have the same experience.
But I want to pick up on what he's saying here, because this is the intellectual seriousness. When emancipation took place, we're the only demographics of people that did not get didn't get this. The terminology is called naturalization. Okay, naturalization is what every immigrant get coming into this country. Right. We were just when I say we, I'm talking about the experience of us based on the slavery that we are part of. Our demographics of people was let off the plantation without any slave naturalization into America. We've been that is what we've been struggling with. And let me just close this, and Jason, then I gotta go. Bottom line is this here. That's why I say there's wealth here. Because when any time a corporation incorporate, they cancel out everything that they had over there, and they invested all our wealth into this country. If you don't speak the right language, we have wealth here, people. We have wealth. But if you're not speaking the right terminology to a corporation, they have no business to give it to you until you come to the table talking the right terminology, username to the system that's already in place.
Even then, they can shoot you.
Can I get the rest of my minute? Can I get the rest of my minute? Please?
So all that to say, all that to say, black wealth. I mean, almost everybody sitting at the table and built beautiful homes. I know, talking about business. I know Taylor got beautiful home. I put beds.
And what did I buy from you then?
I bought beds. You talking about beds for me? Yeah. So I mean, we work together.
That's right.
We all got decent jobs. We hustle a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I think somebody lying to us about the numbers. I see a lot of broke black people. I see a lot of broke white people. I don't see a lot of broke Jewish people because they got this system going. But they still lumped in and marked down as white people. See what I'm saying? So if they just the white people with money, so they got to take Appalachian Mountain. They got to take Appalachian Mountains on their back. See what I'm saying? So I still see a lot of white people. But the main thing that I see is the biggest problem that we have is the black and white thing, right? As long as I keep saying my black people, they're gonna keep saying they white people. But we just people, man. We just people. Me and Dollar Green, the reason we made an album together, say her name, the Breonna Taylor song, the reason we felt that it was a need that he needed to be on that song is because it represents what the protests out in the street look like.
That's right.
It's not just black people protesting, it's everybody protesting, right? And the solution gonna have to look like both of us. I don't wanna have to get an army to protect my money. I don't want my money to be all black people. If we just spend with black people, right? We got what, $3-4 billion a year that black people spend in the industry. But if we just spend it with each other, where we gonna get it from? How a white man gonna let you come work for him and give you some money if you know you just gonna go spend it with your people and ain't gonna spend it with his? He losing his money. He ain't dumb enough to put money up out of his community, send it to yours. So we gonna be losing jobs. We ain't gonna have jobs. We ain't gonna have. Where we gonna get the money from? Say we get all the money, he'll just go in when he print more money. If he print the money, how can you ever get more money than the man who print the money?
You don't have to never leave, like the Asians, they don't never have to leave their community to spend with nobody.
They got everything.
They circulate on that, everything.
Gotta have your own.
That's what we do.
We gotta do what we do. We gotta break, we gotta get off the tip. Cut the umbilical cord.
Hey, y'all.
Could I get everybody's attention
real quick? We can do this all night. This conversation will go all night long, but we have to end this. Right? So,
hey, we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We need to do this again. We got 41 more questions. Thank you for having us. We want to get that. Thank you so much.
Give yourself a round of applause, man. Good job. So
now, if you guys, real quick, if you want to follow some of the work that Community Connections is doing in the community. You can go to our website. It's www.communityconnectionsgrp.org. That's communityconnectionsgrp.org. You can follow what we're doing. You can get engaged. You can come on the radio show. You can make a donation for stuff that we have going on. You know, we're feeding 20 families every day. Thank you, Brother Neil, for doing that, making sure people are eating right. Yeah. And then, you know, we do the turkey giveaway, the toy drive, all the stuff that we normally do each and every year. So I want you all to be a part of Community Connections. Help us. We'll help you. Let's network. Everybody in this room, before you leave tonight, get each other's contacts information and start working together. That's my challenge to you, to start working together. And we're going to do this again in 30 days. And hopefully we can get past 7 questions. So we can. But tonight was beautiful. Yeah, tonight was beautiful. I thank you so much for coming out. I thank the social media for getting it out to everybody. We were on hundreds of pages, and I really appreciate you guys for coming out. T-May, I thank you for always making things. Mishan, thank you. Stacy, Sister Johnson, Bruce is always here, backing me up. I appreciate you. Jabriyll, nephew, Dollar. Hey man, hey, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for having us, man. Appreciate you. Neil, I can't tell you how much I love you, man. For real, from the bottom of my heart. Steve, thank you. Did Kirk leave? He did. Well, thank you for being here and bringing your son from. Where is he from? Where did he come from?
California.
He came all the way from California with that camera, y'all. So we're glad to have him here tonight. So again,
James.
Yes, sir.
Can Joseph plug our new political show?
Yes.
Because it's just going to run through November. Right?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Joseph. I'll let Joseph do it.
Give him a microphone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's my time.
Man, I just wanted to say we just started this show, and the whole purpose of the show is all about education. Okay, we need to educate our community. So T-May came to me about it, and I love this brother to death, and I'm excited about it. It's called Culture and Politics, right? So we just started it. We did it last night. Y'all should check it out. You can definitely check on Wave FM online. You can check on his online page. You can check on my page. Hashtag Just Ask Joe. You can always find me pretty much on Facebook, Instagram. But definitely, this show right here, we're going to have rotating women hosts that are going to be on the show because we need that female energy there, right? And that education from the female perspective when it comes to black politics as well. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be covering reparations and inheritance as we talk about those keywords as to how to get that money.
Okay. Now, I'm going to wrap it up, but I need Boss to tell me, how do we get the music? How do we get the song? Where do we go? How can we get it?
Anywhere that you buy music nationwide. Any platform. Just type in, say her name. It's Boss Scrilla. BOSSSCRILLA. Boss Scrilla. Say her name. It's on YouTube, it's on Apple Music, Spotify, it's on everywhere that you listen to your music. Go listen to it, download it. Now, the proceeds from the record sales is going to the Louisville Urban League. So we're giving back to the community so that we can help fight injustice. So I'm giving up mine, Dollar's giving up his, we're giving back to the community. So we just want everybody to say her name. We want the story to be heard. We want it to be known, and we want her mother to feel that somebody's carrying this on. Other just in the streets, we're doing it on the speakers, in the car, on the video screen. We're trying to make sure that everybody know her baby's story, feel the pain that she's feeling, and say her name.
Misha, don't you have an event? Yeah, I just want to say, to piggyback on what he's saying, that he's going to be performing this Saturday, October the 3rd, with Live Hard with Sir Friendly. We're doing a Red Cross blood drive because all the killing and the things that's going on is to support Breonna Taylor and everybody, and it's getting picked up at the Red Cross. It could turn into a national thing, but it's going to be at the Shawnee Park Village Pavilion down there.
Starts at 1 o'clock.
It starts at 1 o'clock. Big deal. We do Red Cross, Live Hard. You can actually go to a video, Surf Friendly, and this group got a nice song that's also coming out, but you're gonna be performing there this Saturday.
We're going on sort of, we're trying to get it on in, we starts at 1, so we're trying to get on in and start performing. So I think I go on at like 2 o'clock or something like that. I got a nice show, several new songs off my new album, My Black America, spelled with the triple K. Come check me out, come check out Dollar Green.
Did he say it was a voter registration event?
If you there, it is.
Did he say it was a voter registration event?
You there, it is. Come on. Come on now. Yeah. But come on now. Come on now.
I'll be there. I will be there.
Hey, I gotta let my man wrap us up. He never says anything behind the scenes.
Right.
Dropping off food every day, clothes. You know what I'm saying, man? Okay, all right. Again, thank y'all for coming out, guys. God bless.